Feels very weird because this is a whole new setup, and I don't have my contacts in today, so at the moment I'm just like guessing to see if everything's working. We shall see, won't we? Hello, friend. How are you doing this week? So as you can see, I've shuffled things around, made a little bit of a change. There's lots of change at the moment, actually, and something that I really wanted to do was refresh the studio a little bit. I've finally got my desk back from where I used to move. Hang on, let's try that again in English because that didn't make any sense. I got my desk back from the previous place before I moved about 6 months ago. So now I've got an actual bit of a working setup again. If you're listening, you won't understand what the hell I'm talking about because this is all obviously going out on YouTube as well as being podcasted at the same time. So if you do want to check it out, and I would very much admire it because there's a ton of work that goes into this stuff, then make sure to go check out the YouTube, which is, if you're watching on YouTube, then hello. Also, make sure to go listen on podcast if you want some extended bits sometimes. Last week, I talked a lot about self-sabotage and how for the first time I basically sabotaged my self-sabotage, which was quite an amazing experience, if I'm perfectly honest, and that has continued to be a pattern to a lot of the things I'm experiencing at the moment, which is basically around sort of breaking the cycle and breaking certain patterns of behavior to start completely new patterns of behavior, right? So not just going and doing exactly what I was doing before. I certainly know people in my life who have been through those patterns, who have been through those cycles, and it gets so frustrating. You're like, why am I doing this? And effectively, you start to sort of reconcile with the idea that you're basically being run by programs, by mental programs, but those mental programs have no care whatsoever whether they are good or bad for you. Just like our computer program doesn't care about if it's doing good or not. So if you've got a program in your life that is effectively it's set to make an end or make ends meet from your mind's perspective, but it might not actually be beneficial to where you're at today. It can be really, really frustrating sometimes if you don't know where it's coming from. But one of the first things to identify if you're in that situation is it is coming from you. Like, without a doubt, your actions, your behaviors, your perspectives, all of those little elements are coming together to effectively recreate a situation again and again and again and again and again, a pattern of behavior. And by recognizing that it is part of your creation, part of your decision to make this happen, can you then start to gain control over it? So that's one of the first things that I've started doing for myself is to go, right, hang on, wait a minute. These patterns, whether I like them or not, I'm choosing them. I'm making them happen. I'm committing to them. I'm actioning them. If I want to change them, I have to first take responsibility for them. If you don't take responsibility for something, you give the power away, right? The power is no longer yours. Something happens that triggers an event, that triggers a response, and therefore creates a reaction. And you go through something like this again and 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 again. And when you get to those times where it's been like maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 times, you start to notice a pattern and you go, hang on, wait a minute. I've been here before. I've seen this before. I've felt this before. You feel the same kind of pattern over and over again. And you're like, hang on, wait a minute. It's almost like this deja vu. I've been here. What's going on? This isn't going to stop. Like, it's almost like this isn't going to stop automatically. Life isn't just going to fix this. It's not just going to come in and change it and make it perfect and make it easy. It's something that's like a rhythm, like a beat in music, right? It just keeps on going. And you kind of realize then that the trying to disrupt that and trying to change that pattern is going to go against the very nature of what you consider as normal. Because if you think about it, patterns that are ingrained in us so deeply are at one level, they are considered completely normal to you. So one of the things that you will notice when you are disrupting patterns and you're disrupting habitual patterns, programs that could be good for you or bad for you, is it will feel uncomfortable. It will feel weird because your mind's like, no, this is way against the programs that have been set. This is way against the way I work. the mind then observes a new response, and it starts to build secondary patterns and secondary information and pick up secondary information, because effectively from a neural point of view, these are neural pathways that are being strengthened and developed over time. I'll give you an example for me personally. Recently, I've been doing better for myself in a financially. I'm in a more financial secure position, and I'll probably talk about money, in another video, because I've got a lot to say on that as well. But money, I've been doing better for myself, but I've noticed these habitual patterns of wanting to spend that money very, very quickly. And I've literally had moments where it's like, okay, I want to buy this, I want to buy that, or oh, this shiny thing, I'll go buy that, buy. And what I've recognized is actually, if I continue to follow that pattern, which feels very normal, and it almost feels safe for me to do it that way, I'm actually just going to end up in the same financial position that I've been for most of my life, which is flat broke and always making ends meet, always struggling, always trying to drag myself from one moment to the next because I can't manage money effectively. By doing that, it's been so self-reinforcing, because it's like, hang on, wait a minute. If all my previous patterns created this financial situation for myself, then doing something unexplored will create a new financial situation. And it's hard to it's one of those things that's really hard to explain. It's like all things on here without doing it or experiencing it. And I hope it doesn't come across in a way that's just like, in a way that struggle, that can be difficult to kind of comprehend or work from a mental point of view, because I can understand it can be a little bit like, what? And I'm second guessing myself, aren't I? I just get out in the open. That's literally how these videos can be like. I can just rattle off with an idea, and then I just start getting stuck in my head, But that's okay. That's okay. I honor that. That's absolutely fine. Again, this whole process is about me honoring myself. And what I try to think about now is like, okay, if I make a mistake or if I just get a little bit stuck, that's absolutely fine. I've got to imagine like I'm trying to teach this to myself, and I'm just going to take a little reset to kind of rebalance myself for a second. Life is massively influenced by patterns, not only in human behavior, but it's the way life works. Life is it's based on rhythm. If you look at like an analog wave, it's based on patterns. If you look at orbits around planets, it's all patterns. Everything is very pattern based in this reality. In fact, there is a lot of mathematics and geometry that goes into almost seeming like the building blocks of the universe itself. If you think about what music is effectively phrases just repeated over and over and over with different variations. But again, they have that structure. We operate the same as human beings, and that's why sometimes each day can feel like the same day is living on repeat again and again and again, because it is. You are running through various patterns and various cycles in your life as a human being. The beautiful thing is if you can harness and just change one little parameter of your pattern, you can start turning and shifting your pattern in a different direction, because repeat behaviors is what creates results. It is time being on your side that actually creates the life you want. I used to just go, drop everything, make it happen, work your hardest, and it will happen like that. Everything is created through repetition. Almost like if you imagine that you're building a house out of Lego bricks. Building a house out of Lego bricks, you place one brick, it doesn't look like a house. You place another, still doesn't look like a house. But you get to a point where every single day you turn up every single day, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it. And what happens is you eventually start forgetting that you're placing the bricks, because it just becomes a natural part of life. And before you know it, you've built the most incredible house of all of these incredible bricks, and it feels like no time's passed at all, because that, from everything I've learned, that is how you harness time to your advantage. Well, they say patience is a virtue, but patience and recognizing that everything is based off patterns and habitual structure is like, you don't create in life, you just turn and steer your ship, and where you steer your ship will create certain results based on the tiny little actions that you make on a day-to-day basis. When you find yourself in a pattern, if you find yourself in negative habitual patterns. If you find that there are certain things in your life that aren't adding up to where you want to be and what you want to create, one, take the power away from life and put it in you, and recognize that whether subconsciously or consciously, you are making certain actions that are pushing you in that direction. And effectively, you are choosing that. And a lot of the time, that could be just because you've got some program that's outdated from when you were younger that doesn't serve you today. And you just got to drop that program and start creating new ones. Recognize that effectively, you don't have to build the most complex program in the world. You've just got to do one little action every day. And as long as you do it every single day, it will build and build and build and build and build. In fact, the biggest way to make the biggest change and the biggest, different, like the biggest shift to your life is actually to make the tiniest shift in the present moment, and then watch it grow and water it like a flower every single day. Thank you very much for watching. It's been good to get back in front of the camera and or in front of the mic if you're listening. I keep trying to remind myself that I'm addressing, because some of you are listening, some of you are watching, and I really appreciate that. Again, I'm always open to feedback if you've got any ideas. I'm still so early days. I'm so glad that I set that 100 video like I said, I'm going to do 100 videos before I make a call on this channel. One of the best decisions I ever made, because it stops my self-sabotage on numerous occasions for me stopping this. And, the deeper I go on it and the deeper I go onto this journey, and the more comfortable I'm becoming in front of the camera again, the more comfortable I am speaking. And it really is, it goes from being a chore to a joy. And that's really, really awesome. As always, make sure to check back every Sunday as I'll be dropping something new. I am also planning some interviews at the moment. I'd really like to get some conversations and discussions going with some really, really interesting and cool people, especially in the space of like mental health, psychology, philosophy, and just people who are doing really, really interesting things. And and I think that will be a big part of the evolution of this channel, is really bringing in other voices and other perspectives. So it will be it will be cool when that happens. I'm not quite sure when it will happen yet, but I'm working on it. I work part-time. I work sort of 30 hours a week, so I'm doing this in my spare time, as well as having and getting to spend time with the wonderful M. I think my computer's finished. Hey, right, okay. I'll see you later, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.